Okay, hello. Okay, let me start by reading my little spiel. There comes a point in every would-be graphic designer's life when they realize enough is enough. They have gone too far, indulged too much. Something must be done. An intervention is necessary. Sacrifices must be made to shed the excesses of our indulgence. Harsh and cruel sacrifices must be made on the altar of less is more. Okay, but seriously, I have too many fonts. I currently sit with 2,814 fonts installed, and this is causing me problems. The first problem is the greatest. It's lagging Photoshop a little. That is unacceptable. All the fonts together are 947 megabytes, according to my font manager. So that is why it's lagging Photoshop. The second problem is that there are too many choices to pick from when deciding on a font for a design or resume or such. This means that choosing a font from so many choices takes too much time. As much as less as less is more is a graphic design meme, I need to drop most of my fonts. Ideally, I'll be able to prune my collection of fonts that I've gotten over the years down to just 200, and just the best ones, as well as a few specialty ones. I'll use the free font manager nexusfont, and with that, I will uninstall hopefully 2,614 fonts. It takes like 30 minutes just to scroll through all these fonts, so it'll take several hours and probably multiple sessions to get where I want. It will also probably break my heart, as many of the fonts I will be removing are actually quite good. Okay, gonna save that and close that. That's the start of it. So, the first wave is not really choosing the best fonts, it's getting rid of the fonts I don't want. Now, there are some fonts like this Strawberry Fields Love that I will actually be keeping despite it being a sort of not professional font, because I have a certain use for such a kitsch font in mind already. A lot of these are just nice, it's just going to come down to whittling it down to just the ones I want. And most of these fonts I've gotten over the years for free, and I try to make sure all the fonts I got over the years were ones that were free for commercial use, and some were free and some were like Creative Fabrica, which gives fonts away for free, but you could otherwise just purchase them. The freebies are royalty free, and sometimes you don't get the freebies and you can just buy them if you don't see a giveaway. Okay, so I'm going to select these ones. I don't like these ones. And I have the text selected that gives me a good number of the more frequently used characters. Not all of them, but let's see. I do want actually a Z. Yeah, I do want to be able to see Z's. This one, Beretta, is not too bad, but I think that it's not going to be my style. If I need something like this, I can just do it myself. That sort of effect. I actually do like this font. It's a nice solid one. It does have quite a few options, and each, whether it's bold or italic, counts as a different font. Okay, this one, it's okay, but I think I don't like it just because of the Z right here. It does have most of the characters too, and some of the styles I do like, but I think I dislike the Z, the 7, and the 8 in there. So that one is on the cutting. Now I will need a font like this perhaps, but that might not be the best one, but we'll come back to it later. Okay, I'm not... I'll come back to that one. For the monograms, I actually do want to have one monogram font at all of this. This is probably going to be one of the better ones. Ah, for some reason they do one of the characters as a little bug. That's interesting. And what? Yeah, it's the star. The star symbol is a little bug for that one. Now, a lot of these fonts are really, really great, and it's just gonna hurt my heart to see them gone. This one I'm gonna get rid of because it doesn't have an @ sign. I really do like having my fonts have at least the @ sign. Having an @ sign is very good. And this one doesn't have it. It's not so much a thing that losing like this symbol right here, it's not as important, but the @ sign is used very frequently. Especially if you need an email on a design. And this is a nice Adobe font. I'll probably be keeping those because I don't want Adobe to have some sort of error because it lacks them. So the fonts I have to keep are most of the default Windows ones and most of the default Adobe ones. So I'll probably pass on changing any of the, or going for deleting anything that's labeled Adobe currently. Yeah, I think this one I don't like because the lowercase are just a little too tall in comparison to the uppercase. But I could also like that on other designs, I just don't like it here. Okay. I'm going to probably find better bold fonts than this. And I sort of dislike the O here, and it has a 0 there. I actually do like the zeros, but not the O's. And the Q is just horrendous, I think. Garamond, that's probably one of the default ones. I do like the fonts that can actually do a wide variety of the normal characters. So I'll come back to that one. And even though this has these really kitsch parts on it, I might need that for such a design. Oh, in the background you're hearing a little birdie. Little birdie. Mr. Casper, would you like to come over here? Mr. Casper, would you like to come over here? No? Okay. I'll probably have to get out a fresh piece of millet. Just for him. In case he wants to join us. But he was reacting to me talking, and I'm usually a quiet person. So I'll come back to this one because I do want a few kitsch fonts with hearts in them. Okay. I will go ahead and uninstall those ones first, and hopefully it will actually send me a message. No, it didn't, but it did remove it. 6 fonts, okay. That's 6 down. Thousands more to go. Okay, I'm not gonna like this one. Not gonna like this one. Yeah. I do want a good cursive font, but I do know that have one that I really like already. So a lot of these I'm fine with getting rid of if I just don't like a line width. And some of these I don't like because of just how illegible the G is. I actually do like how it does the parentheses here. That's sort of unique. But this one, because of how messy, like the 8 is. No? Yeah, the 8, as well as this money sign and the hashtag. Is that symbol? Yeah, this has to be the and sign. I could not even tell it was the and sign. So that one has to go. This one's not so bad, but I can't really see myself using it. And this is probably a good gimmick font, but it might also be one that eventually gets cut. I'm going to be staring at fonts for so long. The main reason I'm cutting these is just there's so much difference between the numbers and the letters. Okay. Yeah, I'm okay with getting rid of these. Ooh, this is a really nice S. I really do. Casper, come over here. Come here, Casper. If you're going to be talking like that, you might as well come. Come on. Casper, what are you doing? Come on. We are having technical difficulties with the bird, with the mascot. So this is actually a really nice font that includes those kitsch hearts. I like what they do with the Q there too. And it's only in the capitals, but all the other letters are very, very well done. Oh, I like how it does with the O's too. I actually do like that one. I'm actually probably going to mark that one down as keep no matter what. That one is Alicia. No, wait, it's Alista. It's one letter difference than the one right above. Okay. This is a nice stylized font, but I have like if I'm gonna go with one that's already stylized like that, I might as well go in one of the ones that's sort of a mock Asian font instead. I do not like the R on this one, nor on this one. I don't like the H or A on this one. And I in general just don't like the 7s that have a cross on them. But you don't even need numbers in some fonts for them to be good. This one's too illegible. I do like some of the stylization there, and it does have most of the characters. But I think it's just a little too illegible on the capitals. Now that's a great stylized G right there. I do like the F. This one has really nice capitals. See, that's a nice @ sign. Might put that one up high. And I'm only still in the A's. And this has been going on for 15 minutes already. I'm not immediately going to delete this font because it does. Actually, that one's listed as snow, so it's like a Christmas theme. But it sort of looks more like a horror theme to me. Maybe I'll get rid of it just on those grounds. And I do have a few other horror fonts that I've gotten over the years that would probably work better. Mr. Casper, if you're gonna complain, come over here and get a meal out of it. Okay. This one, I don't like how the R's don't really merge with the capitals. Yes, yes. Yes, Mr. Casper. This might be useful as a gimmick font. The Alt Schwab Archer I'm sort of fond of, even though I sort of, well, getting ready to delete fonts, I was looking for fonts that I'd want to add, and the Schwab Archer might have caught my eye simply because my last name is Swab. But this is based on a very old, popular black letter type from Germany. And this one, I think that's just too thin for the line width. Yeah, I don't like what it's doing with like the Q and O. Putting some sort of tail in them. Now, I'm not immediately going to get rid of the Great Happy or the Ametic SC, because I do want something that's sort of like handwritten print. But I'll probably just settle on just one to keep in total. I do like how it does the B there, but the G is pretty terrible. I don't like the quick. I don't think many people would realize it's a Q. I'm going to get rid of this one. There's a lot of merits to this one, but there's also some demerits. Okay. Now this is an interesting font. Like what it's doing in some areas, but things like this 9 right here really catch my eye as being stuff I don't like. I do like the O's and the zeros. I don't like the B, the capital B. The lowercase b I actually think is okay. This is also one of those fonts where the lowercase is almost as tall as the capital. About 2/3 the height, I guess. And it doesn't have a copyright symbol. I actually do like that style. It's just limited space. Okay, this is going to be one of those monograms that's just a little too much. And it's something that I have access to download it again if I really, really want it. And I don't really think I'm ever going to be really doing many monogram designs. Now this is a nice simple font. Unfortunately, it does that thing where you're putting a sort of tail inside the O. I just don't like that. Otherwise, I'd actually really like this font. This one's a bit too much of a scribble. This one seems to be a mix of both cursive and non-cursive. That's interesting. I like the P and S here is definitely cursive. But the great, GR, the A and T might be cursive, but the rest of it doesn't seem to be. Okay. Go ahead and install those. Let's see how many. Okay, 31. We're down around 40. I'm not going to keep track of how many I've deleted so far. I can just do the math. We started at 200, 2,814. So we've gotten rid of a few. Yeah. Let's see. I actually probably changed where the things were. Yeah, because I was right here, and just deleting that many at once pushed me back. So let's see. This is weird. I don't know if this is some sort of error, or if it's for sound or something. But that one is definitely not useful for my purposes. Mr. Casper, if you're going to complain over there, come over here. And I suppose I can put on some music while we're at it. Because the bird is chirping quite loudly in the background. It's not really chirping, it's squawking. It's definitely squawking at this point. Okay, so let's... Okay. 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 That's... Okay. I'm happy with that sound volume. Okay. So putting on some music will make this a bit more entertaining, I suppose. Let's see. I think this one's on the chopping block. As is this one, it's just a little too spread out. I don't like the shape of that E, and the R is not particularly to my liking either. I do like the G. I also don't like the C. Let's see. Now that's ridiculously catch for the letters, and I mean the numbers. I don't like the 4 though. Can't read the 4, but you might not need the 4. That one I think will go to the chopping block. I've seen better ones with hearts. This one I really... That one's fairly nice, yeah? Especially with the cursive. I'm not even past the A's yet. So many of these fonts start with A. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I don't like how the G and R are. Like, G is a very important character, I feel, for deciding a font, because it's one of the ones that's done very, very differently between fonts. This might be one of the best blocky ones. They've done... That's a really nice cue too. That one, I think, will go on my list to make sure I keep at the end of all this. Especially like how it does that money sign, too. This one, that one's definitely going. I'm just gonna go and remove these ones. Nothing particularly wrong with them as script fonts, but also nothing particularly great with them. And if someone who actually made any of these fonts watches this video one day or another, then, ooh, sorry. That R is way too flat. Now this one, I actually think is a nice, simple font. Too much at the line waves. This one's not too bad, but I don't think it's going to make the cut. I'm tempted to keep this one for at least the first round because it has the name Antique Witch. This one again, it's mostly because I don't like the R. And you see that it does that with all the capitals. Lowercase with actual capitals being lowercase. Slightly different, I guess. It's not too bad, but I don't think it's going to make the cut. So this one underlines all I don't remember the terms for vowels and consonants. The vowels? Yeah. That's interesting. I'm not gonna get rid of that just yet. It might be actually useful for some things. But then again, with this E, the E sort of does it the whole idea bad, because the E doesn't get really underlined. Yeah, nor does the I. So I think I can get rid of this because the E and I don't get underlined. And then you might be tempted to make a sound more powerful when you have an underline under it. And this is sort of a nice handwritten print, as far as bold goes. Okay, now we have Arial, which is the Helvetic clone that's on Windows. And that one I'm going to keep because it's one of the default ones that is used everywhere. Now I actually have gone through and removed the dingbat fonts that were actually default on Windows because no one uses those and they just take up space. So let's see. This is an interesting font, and it might be useful for something, especially if you further stretch the letters out taller. But I think at the end of the day, I do not like this A. The A and E are actually complete opposites. And I sort of that's an interesting idea, but at the end of the day, I don't particularly like that idea. And this might even be made by the same person. It does that very similarly. I wonder if Arjunka is another word for armor. Yeah, I just feel like this one doesn't really have... It doesn't have any capitals. It just has lowercase. Now, I might keep this one. It's definitely an interesting black letter sort of font. I don't like the G with so little distance between the openings. Probably not with this one, no. It just uses a normal G for some reason instead of a capital G, while having a clear capital H. This is too sloppy. will want some sort of normal print fonts, but I want them to be just slightly less sloppy than this, just for legibility and design. But I do really like how it does the copyright as a raised symbol. That's actually really nice. Props to the font designer. Now these are both solid. I'm not sure they're quite at the point where I want to say them. Asgore. I wonder if that's named after what Asgore is named after, or the Asgore from, what's it called? Undertale. This is definitely a very different font. It might be a good font for like a villain character. I don't know. It's probably going to be decided when I come back. Let's see. Assassin Ninja. Well, that definitely fits the stylistic look of that. For this one, I don't think I'd ever use just the normal italic. And I don't think I'd actually use the normal. I think both the bold and the bold italic are nice. With the normal, yeah, I don't like it as much. For this one, I don't like how it does the H. Those line whips on like the bottom right there, that's too thin. It would be one pixel thick and might not even show up. Well, that's an interesting font. Okay, now we're gonna uninstall this batch and then get back to this. Okay, so this is where we were. I don't know. I thought I selected this one to get rid of it. Oh, I don't know. So here's where we were. Because I'm working from the top to the bottom, I actually have to scroll back up whenever I remove fonts. That's just what it is. This is a sort of interesting font. I don't hate it. I do like that S very much. It's a nice S. I sort of wish the one on the J, this tail, was as short as the one on the F. Might come back and delete that, might not. Okay, so here we have an interesting thing, is these two are meant to be together. This is basically a shadow underline for this. And the only reason I'm getting rid of that is, like, even the top font is actually fairly nice by itself. So I might actually keep the top font. Now let's see. Yeah, I won't immediately delete the top font, but for the bottom font, I can achieve that sort of effect without having to stack two layers of text on top of each other. And it's also sort of annoying for me. And also, I want to have only 200 fonts, so having two fonts to achieve one font worth of effort is too much. Hey, let's look at this atrocity. Yeah, that one's definitely going. Like, it's a sort of creative idea to put a pattern in there, but at the same... And they actually did a lot of the symbols, too. Actually, all the symbols I had put up there, they did. But still, no, just no. Ah, here. I think this is the first font that I've noticed that does the A like this without the flash in there. Yeah, I didn't even notice it on this one because the pattern's so distracting. I think I'm also going to pass on this one. Let's see. Probably going to pass on that one. Okay, that one as well. Some of these I'm just doing purely whether the G connects well to the R. A lot of them just don't have the R's connect with the G, with the capitals. For some reason they'll do other letters too, but this one isn't doing any from what I can tell. Yeah, sort of looks like it with the H and the A. Even with the R and the E, but the R and the E are clearly aren't really connected. Let's see. So let's see. Yeah. Don't like that. With the G and R. The G and R is a great test for whether or not I like the font. And all of it is, of course, subjective personal opinion. I'm not some great professional graphic designer. I mostly do it as a hobby. Mostly for shirts. Let's see. This font has a sort of weird energy to it. But I think I'll be rid of it. This person did a lot of fonts like this. I sort of also just like just having a font named Baby Anything. It's probably a specific font designer that's named all these fonts. Like, actually, this one isn't too bad. But I do really dislike that 4 right there. That G I sort of like, but it doesn't really connect to the R either, so that's another thing against it. This is a sort of stylized, almost cursive capitals, but everything else is not. Actually, some of it is. This is sort of a confusing font. I think it's confusing because it uses just a normal R, but other things are connected. This is also a fairly nice square font. My main opposition to it is the little thing on this L. And of course, this is one where the capitals and the lowercase are just the same size. You have to really get the look of the capitals down for this font to work. And it does that for the most part. Though with the C, it's the same size. So I think that's why I'm going to cut it. Okay. That's sort of a fun font. Well, props on their naming, Balloon Unicorn. Let's see. Well, actually, Balloon would probably be a common name for a typeface, I'd say. Because balloon letters is a term that exists. I don't like the D on this font. I am almost certain that this is, what, a Bleach fan who made this font? Okay. Okay, well, I'm going to use the Bankai as the point where I come back to. Yeah, that's 21 fonts. Oh, we're finally past the... I just realized we're finally past the A's. Where's the Bankai? Okay. Probably gonna get rid of this one. There's basically no attempt at the G to be cursive there. Okay, why is it shifting? Is that me, or is it something else? That font is too thin. I will need a few horror fonts at the end of this, and I don't have too many in general. But I think both of these are just not up to par for what I want. And worst case scenario, I can go find them again if I delete them. I like this font, but for some reason, the double P has turned into a weird symbol. And I don't know why. Otherwise, I would really like this font as a black letter font. Though the 5 does look too much like an S. In fact, the 5 might be identical to the S. Aside from like this swoosh right here. But the double P turning into that, I don't know why. Yeah. That's not so bad. Okay. Definitely gonna get rid of any dingbats I find. And I've gone from nearly, what, 980 megabytes of fonts that have to be loaded for Photoshop down to 938. That leads to some improvements. So some of these fonts are a lot bigger than others. I could probably have a lot more fonts if I just got rid of the ones that have large file size. Okay, this one's interesting. For some reason, some letters are full black and others are not. But that's basically going to be too inconsistent to use for design work. Yeah. Okay, here's a particularly kitsch one. Are those bees? Butterflies? I don't know. I'm gonna get rid of that though. Maybe they're flowers? I don't know. It's a little too hard to tell, which is partly why it's going to be gone. And here's the version of the script without them. I don't really have any reason to get rid of this one at the moment. That's actually a decent script. It's amazing how many of these fonts I'm willing to delete just because of how the GR looks. That's the first thing I'm looking for a lot of these designs. This one might be a nice one. Okay. Get rid of this monogram for sure. I'm only making the first pass as well. So ones that I don't immediately see as awful might get overlooked until I find which ones I really like in the style. This one, I actually do like how it's doing everything, but because it misses the @ sign, that one is probably going to go. That's a lot of fonts with the same name. A lot of variations. They're not bad, but they're sort of very similar to the default ones. So they might get discarded just because they're so close to the default. Yeah, this is sort of very similar between Georgia and Times New Roman, I feel. And if I already have those fonts, there's not much reason to use this one. So all these Benton fonts, I actually think they're well done, but I have fonts that I'm going to keep over them as is. So they have to go despite being a lot better than a lot of the other ones I've not deleted so far. It's just I already have the idea where I'm definitely keeping Georgia and Times New Roman and a few others. Well, actually, let's see. No wait, actually, Benton is on the list that I am not supposed to delete. It's just there's so many of them. This is the replacement font for Century Expanded. So I'll have to go look into what actually looks like Century Expanded and keep just that one from this set. That's actually a case where I'm deciding not to delete a font. There were notes I made before. Okay. This one does it really nice. That's a really nice bold font. Stylish but legible. I do like that one. That one is definitely on my keep list. Let's see what's the source for this one. I'll look that up later, and if it's something that's not royalty free, then I might get rid of it, but otherwise I do want to keep that one. Okay, so for right now we're going to uninstall these guys. I really hope that a lot of the other fonts that I selected to remove were actually removed. It didn't really give me to delete. So that might be a bug. or it's not properly deleting them. We will keep going though, and hopefully I won't have to go back and delete more. Might also be the case where yeah, those fonts should have been deleted because I'm now at 731 fonts, but it shows in the bottom, which is covered up, I believe, on the screen. Better caramel sounds. I have a feeling that I already have plenty of fonts like this. And I actually do like the ones that have the open areas a bit more than the other ones, but I think I'm going to have a better option than that. This one I'm going to get rid of simply because of the 7. Okay, this one I'm not sure what it's trying to do, and it might even be just buggy in this interface, but I don't know. So let's go on. Okay. Oh, I'm actually already... No, I'm still in the B's. Still in the B's. Okay. And now. Yeah. I think because of the Z and the 7. This might be a nice thick letter font. And it doesn't overdo the little tail going into the O or Q that some other fonts I've seen and have deleted have done. Let's see. I don't know too many font terms off the top of my head. You don't really need to remember them unless you're trying to do college work. Like outside of college work, you don't really need to remember most font terms. Okay. But I'm guessing the font remaining is just more of a graphical error. So let's see. This is a kitsch font. Interesting how there's the heart in the G, but almost nowhere else. So it's less kitsch than the other ones. But I think I'm going to get rid of it because it isn't kitsch enough if I'm actually going to keep it. Yeah, this is an interesting one, but overall I think it sacrifices too much in its legibility for the style. I don't like the G and R again. Let's see. Some of the bottom parts of the letters are too thin. Okay. I don't like this type of G. Oh, that's a really bold font. Okay, well, I am definitely... I don't like these blackout fonts. This one is fairly fine. This is actually a fairly nice handwritten cursive font that has the sort of openings that someone might writing fast make that you would think of. All the numbers are the same size. That's good. Capitals, all the capitals visible I actually do like. This one I might keep. I don't like this G. That sort of angle right here is what's sort of off-putting. This font is sort of supposed to be an off-putting font, but the other letters are a lot more similar to each other in style than that. Okay. Don't like this purely because of this R. And also it has like the tail going into the O again. I do actually like this E. This is a very nice stylistic E. And this is another one of the pink fonts, but I've seen a few better ones. Or ones that I like more. These fonts are not necessarily bad either. As is often the case, it's just preference and I need to have far less of them. Okay. Yeah. How the letters are tapering towards the ends. And also the inconsistency, like the line for the A is just a very thin, straight line. It doesn't really taper like the other things do. That sort of inconsistency I don't like. Oh boy. So, we're at 1 hour. 1 hour of doing this, though I did spend the first 10 minutes reading my script. Okay, 1 hour and we've gone from 2,814 to 2,707. So this is going to take quite a while. I've actually been talking more than I do on most of my streams. Okay, and let's see. Bodoni is one that I actually listed as definitely keep. Bodoni has a nice classic look to it. It's supposed to be a replacement for what? Oh yeah. This is a different version of Bodoni compared to the normal one, I think. Let's see. No, it's just an Adobe font. Bodoni XT is the one I specifically downloaded commercial use. It's based off the best version of the Rodani fonts, I think. Yeah, that's the one that's particular, but the other ones are actually Adobe fonts. Let's see. I'm okay with getting rid of this one. And sadly, when I get to the C's and I see Comic Sans, I'm going to have to leave it be because it's such a commonly used font. And that's almost as hurtful to me as deleting the other really good fonts that I just don't have room for. I don't like how the B doesn't close at the bottom. That's too much. This is a creative font that would probably look for some cutesy stuff, but I think that I'd like it to have a few more details rather than just this one short line. And the line actually looks like it's pretty consistent in size on most of these, but like on the A, it's smaller. Again, getting rid of this one because the G and R don't connect. I'd rather they do. Getting rid of these ones because the line wipes I don't like. But this is a fairly decent squarish font. But the A, they don't have the @ sign. And now you need the @ sign for a lot of things because a lot of account names, in addition to email accounts, you have accounts on social media like Twitter, Minds, and other things where your account name is @ someone. Yeah. Okay. I do like the T here, but it's a bit much, and a lot of the other letters are sort of lacking in refinement. Yeah, I sort of like this Bornea. Okay. Boston Shine. That doesn't really shine for me. Boston Support. I don't like the line. Okay. I think the curves are a little too pixelated on this one. I've seen some other bolder fonts seem not as pixelated. Okay, that's a nice thin font. For this font, I don't like the bolds. Okay. This one, obviously, I'm getting rid of because it doesn't really show up that good. Sort of a gimmick font idea with the swishes. And I'm not even sure that works in my setup. And for this one, I think I don't like it not having the E's closed in this Y. I don't like how there's so little between the Y and its tail. And this S is terrible. Let's see. This one's not so bad. Though it does do the numbers oddly smaller than the rest of it, as well as the symbols. All the symbols are a lot shorter than everything else. But everything else is just pure capitals. Staring at the screen for so long, starting to make my eyes tired. Okay, this one I think is just a little too spread out. It could also be because of just how much larger the font is compared to other fonts in size 34, which is sort of also a reason to get rid of it, because when you're designing it and you're just changing between fonts, you sort of don't want to have to change font size to compensate. You sort of want fonts to be more consistent in size. I know there's going to be a huge number of differences. For this one, I just really hate that G. I really hate that G. That G should die in a fire. And this one's not too bad. I actually like that it's connecting. That's a huge plus. It does have the symbols. Okay, and this is another monogram. Mr. Casper, would you like to come over here? I have millet. We'll see if we can lure a birdie. He's been oddly shy today. I'm almost done with my first glass of water, too. I might have to stop with that, but I do want to at least go through the C's before I stop. Okay. Let's see, is that a bad font, or is it a good font? I can't decide right. Oh, let's see. It has the cross through the Z, so that's one of the things that I really dislike, so... Okay, and Casper has decided to walk over. He is eating his millet, but he hasn't flown to my shoulder yet. Okay. Yes, here we have Casper. We have succeeded in luring the birdie, who has been shy today. Yes, Mr. Casper. Sort of don't want him to go to the other shoulder, even though he'd be more visible on camera, because then he would start chewing on my headphone cable. Okay, well he wants to go over there and chew on my headphone cable. Isn't that right, Mr. Casper? Well, I suppose because he's here, I can slightly adjust the camera. Yes, there we go. We have a birdie on camera. Birdie on camera succeeded. So let's go back to what I was doing. This font does some things well, but other things not so well. That's another one of those two-part fonts that has sort of a dimensional element if you use a second font underneath it. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and uninstall these. Brownie glasses. So this font, do you see what it's doing with the parentheses here? It does 3 hearts for each parentheses. That is adorable. It is absolutely adorable. But the font really doesn't have any of the other pitch elements. And if I'm using a font with pitch elements like that, then I definitely want the whole font to have the pitch elements. And Brownie's glass has those elements, but Brownie's sugar does not. Brush color doesn't really have any brush strokes. Would you do that again, Mr. Casper? Mr. Casper? That's a good birdie. This one, it does connect the G and R, but the G has a very thin area between the opening. So I don't particularly like that. And let's see. The Q is also sort of a veto. I don't like that Q. This Brutal Solid is a very thin script. But it's sort of ridiculous in how much space between the parentheses there is. That's probably intentional, but it's just so much outside of the rest of the size, and all the characters have huge jumps in their sizes. There's such a huge difference between the capitals and the lowercase. So that one I think I'm going to get rid of. And for brutal type, I definitely think I have better versions. I don't like this script at all. Too messy. This is a nice, clean, cursive, but it also doesn't connect the G and R. And I deleted a lot of fonts over that. And I think I'll delete this one over that too. For some reason, that is a point that I'm willing to just delete a lot of fonts on. But I think that I'll eventually find better fonts that don't do that. Okay. This is a nice thin font. I'm not immediately going to get rid of this one, but apparently I've downloaded it twice somehow. So I will delete the extra copy at the very least. What? What? Oh, okay, you got my attention. Got out of bed. Would saying clever dude be a Jurassic Park reference? I don't think so. Okay, burn folk. Yeah, I gotta pass on that one. Now, this is a nice gimmick font, but some of the things aren't really consistent with the wood style, like the @ sign is a cowboy hat. The @ sign is a cowboy hat. But I think I'm gonna get, if it had an @ sign that wasn't a cowboy hat, and it does have a sheriff star, so that's sort of fine as an interesting thing. I also just like that the accented E, the accent, is a screw. I'm very glad they actually did that, but I would have rather it been another piece of wood. So I think I'm going to get rid of the Burnstown Dam. Okay. Okay, that's good. Okay, pretty happy. And none of these are filling it. Yeah, I'm sort of more willing to delete them after going through so many. So let's see. Like, I'm willing to provide a reason for most of these that I'm deleting, but some of these I just don't feel it. I definitely don't like that G. That H is sort of off as well, because of how this angle right here is. Well, let's see. They're not bad, but also at the same time I don't think I'd use them. But you never know, but at this point. Oh, and we're finally into the C range. Yes, Casper. Casper. How goes it, Casper? I'm raising up my shoulder just so you can see Casper better. Mr. Casper, how goes it? What? That's a good flex. That's a good flex. Yeah, Yeah, this one isn't doing the parentheses. I feel like that's sort of a very easy one to do in a script font. Like, I don't necessarily expect you to do a star in a script font, even though it is one of the very default keyboard functions. And then you of course have Calibri, which is one of the more default ones. Okay, let me get rid of that one. Yes, yes. Imagine if we could get rid of the real Calibri. I don't immediately want to get rid of the Callista. This one I do want to get rid of. This one sort of has a black letter style. That is an interesting cue. So this one I might come back to. Yeah, I'm not going to get rid of this one yet. So if I do come back to it, I will probably get rid of it over this A right here. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna get rid of it because I don't like that A whatsoever. Yeah, that is an A that I just can't stand. The E is also sort of, I don't like the E too much either. I do really like that Q, but I'm not willing to have a font just for a single Q. Is Cambria one of the default fonts? It might be. Well, let me go ahead and uninstall these 45 fonts. Okay, we're now down to 2,669. Nice. Okay, yeah, this seems like one of the default Microsoft fonts. Yeah, I recognize the name at least. I've gotten enough font work to recognize the default font names, most of them anyways. Now we have Cambria Math. This one's actually quite nice. That one's actually also one of the default ones. I think I have better versions of sans serif fonts than Andara. Okay, Candy Lover. I really dislike how it's doing the R, and there's no difference between uppercase and lowercase. So it has the lowercase r as an uppercase R. I really don't like that. Again, just reading this font because of how the G and R interact. You have a non-cursive G. You have a cursive C. You have a non-cursive B. Now, what is with this font? Well, it's going. That's actually been very common in fonts that use any cursive elements, is not attaching the R properly. Okay. Okay. So let's see, is there anything wrong with this one? Well, I think that there's a huge inconsistency between some of the letters. Like, some have a really dark shading, but this one doesn't. Okay, let's see. I just got a message on my phone. Let me check that really quick. Because it might actually be important. Let's see. Might be some work. Okay. Now this one is an interesting font. This one is definitely going to be a contender for staying. Huh. Director picked role. Unfortunately, I'm probably gonna say not available. I do background work occasionally. Oh. Well, I can say yes, but I know this production won't accept me. Just a moment. I need to think. Yeah, but I don't necessarily want to go to. Okay, back to the work I was doing. So we've been doing this for 1 hour and 20 minutes, and we're down not even 200 fonts yet. So, speed up just a bit. Now this is sort of an interesting take on the black letter fonts. It sort of has that sort of feel, but it's actually a thin version of them. The U is the only thing I don't like off the top of my head. And the Z with a slash through it. It doesn't have the slash through the 7, though. It does have almost all the symbols, too. That one will probably come in. Century Gothic, definitely. Okay, let's go. Let's keep going. That one over the G. Now this might be a really nice bubble letter font. Yeah, and it already did a fairly nice shading. Though the copyright symbol is not as good as the rest of it. But you rarely use the copyright symbol. This one. Yeah, I don't think that one's particularly special. There's a lot of competition for this kind of font. Let's see. The fact that the lowercase b is taller than the capital B I don't like. That's good enough for me for deciding not to keep this font. Heck. Okay, I'm installing another 29 fonts. The Charlemagne one I do like. That one would probably actually be one of the last 200, I think. Yeah, it will probably be in the last 200. Okay, that's it. Okay, this is now one of those double fonts. Not actually going to immediately delete the top one, because it might actually be one of the better for how the G connects. I know that's a lowercase g made big, but that's fine if that's what you need to get the typeface to work, because you can use the lowercase g instead of the capital G. For this one, yeah. I don't think I like that R right there. The R has this weird little loop on it. I think that's the main reason why I don't like it. Okay. Definitely not this one. Sheepy dinosaur. Nope. Nope. Okay. Is this designed to have like little fur on it? I think I'm gonna pass on that. I'd rather have my fonts. This looks almost smooth, but then you have this weird furriness to it. Yeah. I think that's... especially with a lot of the effects that I use on text. Apparently, my left speaker on my headphones has died. Unfortunate. Okay. This one I don't like because of how close the T is to the top right there. And this is an interesting font. Cristiano, I'm guessing that's because of how they do the T there. Though I don't like how it does the Z. It has the 7 done like that, so probably going to get a bit over that. Otherwise, this is actually a really, really nice font. Also, the L doesn't really connect to the others. Then you just have a normal A when it's by itself. Okay. And this one was also doing something similar with its T. Yeah, this is not a bad font. That one I might come back to. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of this one, and this one, and this one. This one's an interesting one. This one I'll come back to decide. Let's see. Ultimately, I'm getting rid of these because of the 7. Let's see. Christmas card. Now this program seems to be lagging quite a bit now. So after I delete the next set of fonts, I will open and close it. It just messed up and only deleted 2 fonts. So I'm going to reopen it. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, it missed a few fonts, more than a few. So that's a bit of a setback. Okay. Definitely a setback. I don't really need outlined fonts unless it's really special. And particularly, I would probably prefer to only have outlined fonts that are filled in to some degree. Can't even tell that's G. Yeah, so a lot of the fonts I just had selected did not get deleted. I guess that's the way it feels. But it might be a case where I have to turn the computer on and off again before it takes effect. In fact, those fonts might already be deleted. It is lagging some more. Or rather, lagging already. This might be a case where I stop at 1 hour and 30 minutes into this. I've removed about, what, 60 megabytes worth of font being installed. The only thing special this font is doing is on the eye that has a bell. This is an interesting Christmas font. You might actually go back and next time through just delete all the fonts with the Christmas name on them. Okay. Did that even work in deleting those fonts? It's showing no change. So I think that it's going to have errors unless I restart the computer. So I should stop streaming for now, be happy that I've deleted quite a few fonts, and then come back and make sure the ones I tried to delete are deleted. So next time I will start at all the Christmas fonts that aren't necessarily good for Christmas. Okay. But, oh yeah, 1 hour and 30 just to get only probably halfway through the C fonts. Okay, well that's fine.